Que lo que mi gente, bienvenido a episodio 8, Cómo No, for Teach Me How To, pero en español. So, this was a week. It was the last week of school. Things were getting crazy. And so, I decided to do Cómo No because you know what? Why not? Like, just why not? So, we're going to review for the word of the week the word como, which has an interrogative, an affirmative or affirmation, and a verb. Okay, so I put in for the word of the week, como, a link in the lesson that says different meanings explained because you can use como in different contexts. And I want you guys to be able to understand when someone says yo como tacos cada día, you're not asking or being asked to or how to eat tacos. You know, it's actually you saying I eat tacos or the person saying I eat tacos or whatever they eat. Okay, I'm saying tacos because I had tacos the other day. Actually, I had it twice, but that's because I just really, really love different types of tacos. But I also had, I think it was enchiladas, but I digress. So, you have como, which is the word of the week. Our verb of the week is vivir, which means to live, because I'm so glad I lived through this week. Oh my goodness. Like I said, it was the last week of school, and I survived. And then the number of the week is ocho. I decided to do something, a little smaller, less than 10. Figure we get through those first 10 numbers and kind of go from there. And then our song of the week is an oldie but goodie. It's the song Obsession by Aventura featuring Judy Santos. So when you listen to the song, you might be able to tell, like, this song sounds familiar. They have another version of it, but the version I picked, I liked the girls' vocals. It just sounds so elegant and so beautiful. And this song is a ballad. And like I said last week, a ballad is really great for practicing how to listen and practicing the different sounds you hear when they're enunciating. Like, even when you listen to other songs, I was listening to a Christina Aguilera Spanish song the other day. And although I am not familiar with her singing in Spanish, but listening to her, she's very, very articulate. Like, she enunciates a lot of the syllables. Although when you're singing, sometimes it's hard because you smush sounds together, right? But anyway, I would recommend listening to the song and then listening to how they pronounce the words so you can hear them and hear how they sound. Another good thing is to use lyrics training. I also mentioned that the week before. It helps you practice your listening skills. Okay, so let's get into it. So, como. Como as an interrogative is how. Like, how are you doing? ¿Cómo estás? How do you call yourself? Which we usually think as what is your name, but what is your name really is cuál es tu nombre. But como te llamas is how do you call yourself, or como se llama, how does she call herself or himself or their self. Okay, and you have como, which is like the word like. Okay, so I can say something like the sky is like the ocean. Okay, so el cielo como el mar. Okay, so you have como as a question word, how. You have como that can connect words like the word like or as. And then you have como the verb from the verb comer, which means to eat. Como I eat. Okay, so if you click on the link for the different meanings explained, it goes through questions. So you see like something that you may want to know about. So if you want to say like, how do you dance? I can say como bailar. How do you write? Como escribir or como escribes, whatever it is, okay? And then you have como, like, describing what people are like como es tu mamá? Mi mamá es alta, baja, morena, rubia, inteligente, right? And you have the como, like I said before, when you're talking about comparing people. So it's usually like a word you're connecting. So it doesn't be people, but like I said, the sky is like the ocean. I did that reference because they're both blue. But you can say el cielo es como el mar. Los dos son azules, right? The sky is like the sea. Both are blue. So you can use como, like I said, as a question word, asking how to do something, how someone is, like what they're like, how someone is doing, and what is someone's name, or how do they call themselves. So think of like como as like how, which means you're explaining something. And then the second one, when you're connecting, comparing things, like if I want to say I work as a teacher, I can say yo trabajo como una profesora, okay? or if I want to like express my opinion, like as a woman, como una mujer negra, like as a black woman, okay? Then, like I said, we have como as the verb comer, which is, I eat. Now, the link that I put in the lesson has many, many, many more explanations that you can use and read. And at the very end, it has 10 different sentences where you have to identify what type of como they're using. So I'm going to pick one for you real quick. So number 2 is como te llamas. That's a really easy one. I already went over it. Como te llamas? Which kind of how is that being used? Is it used as how explaining something, like a question? Is it how where it's an affirmation, you're connecting something, explaining something, sharing equivalency? Or is it the verb comer? Okay, so I would recommend clicking on that link in the lesson to just kind of practice so you can kind of see different ways how to use como as the how question word or as connecting um, or comparing or showing equality between two subjects. Now, the verb of the week, vivir. Okay, that means to live. Now, I also love this verb because there are two songs from two Latin artists who I grew up listening to that I love so much. One is by Ricky Martin, Living La Vida Loca, okay, though he doesn't explicitly use the word vivir in it, but that's how I remember it, Living La Vida Loca, vivida, or like living, right? Vive, vida, life. Okay. So when you see certain words, especially when you see them in their Latin root form in English, or you see them in Spanish, but you see it in different variations, it helps you understand like what words mean. So one thing that I definitely try to encourage teaching my students is looking at words and seeing where you've seen the equivalent of that root in an English word or somewhere else in your life. Okay. So when I think of the word vivacious, okay, when you say, oh, this girl's really vivacious, the Latin root, V-I-V, viv, right? Vida, vivir, live. So she's a lively person, okay? So if you have a big brain with a big vocabulary, use your big brain and use your big vocabulary, okay? You can discover what these words mean so quickly and easily, okay? All right. And then the number of the week, ocho, I just was feeling the number 8, maybe because I feel like I work 25/8 instead of 24/7. So again, last day of school was yesterday. So glad we're done. Okay, so let's go over our tres frases. I already went over como te llamas, so I'll say that again. And what I'll like to do is actually try a different word this time. So I did como te llamas, or they heard como estás. I'm going to use como this time, asking how to do something because it's really simple. So we'll pick the verb from another week before. Let's say we choose the verb hacer. Okay, so you're asking how to do something. Cómo hacerlo. Cómo hacerlo, which is how to do it. Now I'm going to change hacer to you, which would be hace. So, ¿cómo lo haces? How do you do it? ¿Cómo lo haces? How do you do it? Okay, now we'll go into conjugations a little later. We already did some of them before. But in this case, como te llamas, you're asking what someone's name is. Like, what is your name? Or technically, like I said, how do you call yourself? So, como te llamas, how do you call yourself? And then when I said como lo haces, I'm asking, how do you do it? Como lo haces? Okay, now we're going to go over the other two variations of como just because I said that there are different ways and you want to make sure that you understand and can distinguish and differentiate between the three. So you have el sol es como una sonrisa en el cielo. Now, again, I don't think I know why I use the sky references. I mean, I think I do. I just love the sky. I love altitude. Also, altitude, alto, tall. Although one time one kid kept saying your dad was high, and I had to correct him many, many times. But not the point, though. So I like the sky. It's blue. It's pretty. The sun. Makes me think of a smile. So when you say el sol es como una sonrisa en el cielo, you're saying the sun is like a smile in the sky, because sunshine should make you feel good. It gives you vitamin D. It makes me highly melanated. I just love it. It should give you the energy you need to get through the day. Okay, and the last one. So we used the verb comer before in our word of the week, or verb of the week. So this one's, yo como mucho durante vacaciones. I eat a lot during vacations, which is true because I'm about to go on vacation. Why? Because I'm a teacher and summer break is upon us. So, yo como mucho durante vacaciones. Now, in case someone's wondering, what if you say como? Well, then you're asking, how do I eat? Which could make sense in the sense of, if you are going somewhere, like let's say you're going to a restaurant and maybe they have something on the plate, maybe like one of those bowl looking plates where it's like kind of a bowl, kind of a plate, and you want to know, how do you eat it? Do you use a spoon? Do you use a fork? You could say, como lo como? How do I eat it? Como lo como? And then they may say, with your hands. And you're thinking this is soup. And they may say, con las manos. And then you may say, como no? So you would ask, how do I eat this or eat it? They say with your hands. And you say, why not? So, como lo como? Con las manos? Como no? Okay, so quick little lesson on using como when one's a how and the other one's I eat. You're welcome. Then our verb of the week is vivir. So I used this common phrase I keep seeing on Instagram and TikTok with like, show me someone who lives in your house rent free. So I'm doing the one with the dog because I keep seeing that one on a blog I follow. So my sentence today is for the verb of the week. Mi perrito vive en mi casa sin pagar nada. Mi perrito vive en mi casa sin pagar nada. My dog lives in my house without paying for nothing. We'll also talk about double negatives eventually. The one thing I really, really like about Spanish language, double negatives. I don't know nothing. I ain't saying nothing. I used to talk so poorly when I was little. I mean, I'm not that I advanced so significantly since I've become an adult, but I have. But the main point is I remember being small and my mom always correcting me when I used double negatives. And I didn't understand why. Well, because it's not grammatically correct in English. But when I learned Spanish, I was like, oh, we can say double negatives and it's not incorrect? Hello. Fell in love. Anyway, now for our number of the week. I made a really long sentence. I don't know what was wrong with me. This is what I came up with. So, brace for impact. Cuando fui al mall, vi como 8 niños perreando y grabando un video de música para TikTok. Cuando fui al mall, vi como 8 niños perreando y grabando un video de música para TikTok. So, what I said was, when I went to the mall, I saw like 8 kids shaking it, because I used the word from the week before, perreando, perrear, shaking it like a salt shaker, you know what I mean, backing that up, twerking it, right? Grabando, recording, un video, that's a cognate, de música, another cognate, para TikTok, that's a brand. So when I went to the mall, I saw, and I used como, okay, using the word of the week, ocho, number of the week, niños, children, perreando, word of the week before. Okay, so when I went to the mall, I saw like 8 children jiving or juking, depending on how old you are, and recording a music video for TikTok. So what I want y'all to do is practice the verb of the week, number of the week, and the word of the week. And we're going to take a quick listen to the song Obsession. And once you're done listening to it, I would like for you to try going on to lyrics training to practice listening, okay, and filling in those blanks. It's a really fun activity. I highly recommend it. Also, click on the link for how to use como in different expressions, okay? And then also, if you ever tried studyspanish.com, I recommend using that to practice if you're like more grammar focused and, more like, I want to understand the functionality of how to use whatever, okay? Studyspanish.com, okay? So I just gave you 3 different sites, okay? Studyspanish.com. If you can listen, you would be able to remember studyspanish.com. So let's take a quick listen to the song of the week. And again, it is called Obsession, and it's by a group from La República Dominicana, the Dominican Republic. And it's featuring a woman named Judy Santos. So let's take a listen.
Son las 5 de la mañana y yo no he dormido nada, pensando en tu belleza y loco voy a parar.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to the song, and I really hope that you guys take time to go back and listen to it again with lyricstraining.com. Take some time to go to studyspanish.com to practice any verbs, any vocab, whatever. It's a great resource. And as well as clicking on the link to understand how to use como in different contexts. Thank you so much, amigos, for coming. I hope you had a great time. I have a great time helping you learn your Spanish. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Adios, amigos. Ciao.